Smash that limiter!
Okay.
How about that?
So what was happening?
We actually got it to work.
What was
Only
happening?
took 30 episodes.
So I had another window open of YouTube and I pressed pause and it wasn't pausing the music. I'm like, what the fuck? It was pausing. It was playing the video that I had in the other window, that which we'll go into in this podcast.
Oh.
So Spliffy, can you explain to me why you decided to name episode 30, by the way? We've fucking made the big 30. Hell yeah.
That's 3 times 10, or the big 30.
Big
We are
30.
going to go somewhere
That's
with it.
it.
I don't know where,
We actually have committed to something.
though.
I can't believe
The
we've been...
first time in our lives.
I know. We've been doing this for a few months too now. It's ridiculous.
I know, which is fucking
Yeah.
crazy to think about.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever kept like anything online. Like I'm one of those people that I get bored of something real quick. The automotive.
You're one of those interests for a minute, and then off to the next.
Yeah. I don't know if you noticed that, like, I'll start streaming a game and then like I'll get to like episode 10 and I'll just stop streaming. And the reason why is, one, I get bored, and two, I have such a shitty setup that it just makes things really hard and difficult. So it just gets frustrating. Well, I am. I'm currently have many PC components just looking at me at the end of my office space. Fucking
you put it together and all your problems are fixed.
Yeah, it's my dream PC. I am going all out, holding no stops, money no expense. Isn't that right, Spliffy?
How much RGB is part of this computer?
You don't want to know what the final cost of this computer is going to be when I'm done with it.
No, the RGB. How many components have RGB associated with it?
Everything.
Oh god!
I mean, every single component except for the SSD.
Why?
The case has RGB. The RAM's gonna have RGB.
The case has RGB.
The AIO has RGB.
Why do you need RGB on your case?
Because RGB. That's right. The only thing that doesn't have RGB is the power supply, and I have beautiful white custom cable mod cables. And then later down the line, I'll get RGB streaming cables because, you know, why not?
Oh my god! Why?
I have 14 fan. No,
you have a problem.
5 times 3. What's that? I'm bad at math.
15.
15 fans, or RGB. It's gonna be.
God.
You
have a problem.
I have.
You don't need this much RGB on anything.
I want to glow, bitch. Okay, so why did you name today's episode "The Engine Exploded"? Have you blown up your car?
No.
Okay.
Have you not figured out by now that, like, at this point, the first thing comes to my mind whenever you ask me for a title, which is why I named that one episode. What was it like? I can't remember the name of it.
It was weird. I can't remember it either.
But you know the name of it. You know the name that I'm talking about, like something to do with meat or something like that. I don't remember.
If you're watching this, we don't do clickbait. We just do random.
Yeah, that's literally it's just random. It's just random.
Just random. We just like whatever happens the day.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So some exciting news. It isn't automotive, but it's kind of exciting for me because, like, you know, when this show came out, I was a kid. It was one of my favorite Nickelodeon shows that came out. Probably the best series ever made as a cartoon, which is Avatar: The Last Airbender. It has amazing start, mid, finish. Properly fleshed out storyline. Even the filler episodes were interesting. I just loved it. And even as an adult, it's really fucking good. And then they brought out that live action piece of shit.
I remember that.
That we all hate, and memes lots came out around the same time that stupid Dragon Ball Evolution did. Probably the 2 worst movies ever made in history. But Netflix came out and gone, let's redeem the name of Avatar: The Last Airbender as live action. So what we're going to do...
To do that?
well, Netflix did a really good job with
Or did they?
One Piece. I really like One Piece. It was really good.
I
For
haven't
live
seen One
adaptation.
Piece.
It's really good. I liked it a
Is
lot.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cowboy Bebop was it
I
wasn't that
mean,
great,
yeah.
but it wasn't bad. It just eh.
I actually haven't seen either one. I haven't seen
Cowboy Bebop anime is great. You should watch
I've
it.
heard that it's
It's really
excellent.
good. Yeah, I've got the full box set.
Oh right.
Yeah, I've got the whole thing. I've watched it both in Japanese and English.
Because why not?
Yeah, well, see, I like watching Japanese a lot of the time because you get dialogue that's different to obviously English because of translation. So listening to in Japanese and is just easy because they say a lot more things and they swear a lot more. So that's why my Japanese is better in some cases. Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Z and all that, I don't like the Japanese original because the voice actors are super fucking annoying. So I actually don't like Dragon Ball Z's original
Dub,
Japanese.
not dub,
It's not dub,
sub.
just original.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
just not a fan of it. One Piece is good though in Japanese. But the English dub of Dragon Ball Z and Super and GT and all that is way better than the original Japanese version. And Pokemon was better in Japanese because they would swear. Yes, Pokemon, they swore. I heard Ash say
Pokemon.
shit 3 times.
Oh wow, and you were counting too.
Yeah, I was counting. I've seen all of Pokemon up to, excluding the modern stuff, the last like 5 years I haven't watched. Up to Black and White. I think no, actually no, X and Y. Up to X and Y. X and Y was the last season that I saw. Everything after that, a lower. Oh, I watched a bit of a lower, but I didn't like it. I watched all of that both in English and Japanese. I've seen also the
Mm.
band episodes. I've also watched. Oh, what's that fucking show that I remember? Samurai Jack. That was pretty fucking good. That was a cartoon though with Japanese styling. Um,
I did hear
yeah,
a few good things from quite a number of things from people
yeah,
that I worked with plenty of times about Samurai Jack.
it was good.
So
Yeah, it was real
must be
good.
good.
It was. Yeah. Um. Anyway, so we're gonna watch this today. Obviously, I'm not gonna play any sound because I'll get copyrighted. But we are going to go into watching this trailer of Avatar: The Last Airbender Netflix edition. Spliffy has not seen it yet. So
No,
we're
I have
going.
not.
So
This will
he
be a
will
live
obviously,
reaction.
yeah, he will obviously have his audio
I'm
playing. Well, we will not.
I'm guessing I'm gonna be making mouth noises as we're watching it.
Okay. You've got the link open.
Yep, I've
All right.
zeroed out too.
All right. You count down.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play.
All right. Here we go. All right. So got some pretty lights. Ooh.
And
Purple's
fire,
burning.
plenty of
Yeah.
fire. We
Plenty of
love
fire.
fire. Not anymore. We don't
That-
like fire anymore.
Just the scenery looks fucking good. That looks cool.
Okay, I'm liking the
Yeah, the casting looks alright.
cast is
Yeah.
actually seems good.
That looks awesome as the Earth Kingdom.
So is this a
Zuko?
movie or a series?
Series. So I love the casting that
right
they've
on.
done so far. Zuko and there's Iroh.
Hmm.
And then we've got some of the warriors. That's the volcanic island where Yang goes to have his Avatar experience to see Avatar. Is it Roku? I can't fucking remember. Even Aang looks good. His tattoo looks like Aang looks good. Even his tattoo, you can see some fire bending there. Fire bending looks like they're not doing those stupid bloody dances and then just go poof like on that stupid movie.
They're actually just fighting like normal people.
Looks good. Yeah, there's Momo. Looks scary as fuck, but to be honest. A
I
flying
don't know
lemur.
what you find scary about Momo.
A flying lemur would be scary in real life. So that looks cool. That is
how dangerous? How dangerous are lemurs?
I'm not too sure. That looks really good. February
Yeah, you know what? That
22nd.
does look excitingly good.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Way better than that heap of
Way
crap.
better than the movie that brought out like what, a decade ago or something like that.
The age does not matter, man. Like they
No,
brought
no, no,
out,
no. It's like
yeah,
it's not about age. It's just the crap that they brought out 10 years ago.
yeah. It's crazy. Hey, did you hear that? Richard Hammond.
Yes, I do know of Richard
From
Hammond, but not
Top
personally.
Gear. Okay,
Yes.
so did you hear about the car accident that he was in years and years ago in the
Which
Rimac?
one?
The electric one, the one where he rolled down the hill.
No, I don't. I don't remember that one.
So Richard Hammond rolled down a hill in a car called a Rimac, which is like one of the world's fastest electric cars. It's super fast. And basically the other day he actually he went to he got reunited with the Rimac and got to drive it since his crash.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll play the
His
video.
redeeming drive, shall we say,
Yeah.
to see if he can't crash it again.
Well, he's crashed a lot of things.
Well,
over the
yeah,
years.
there's no surprise there.
Here's a video here of him in the Rimac.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's a fancy-looking car.
It was a very fancy supercar, really expensive. There's only a handful in the world, and he crashed one of them.
Whoa!
So he lost
there he
it,
goes,
and then he went over the edge, and yeah,
easy done.
Just to explain how fast the car is, I'll show you a video.
How fast does it go? What's its top speed? Let me have a look.
It's really quick. This is the video from Grand Tour with the Rimac. So it's racing up against a Lamborghini and a Ferrari, and it just slaughters them. Look at it go. Boom. It's gone.
So I'm seeing here Rimac Nevera.
Yeah.
Set a record for the fastest electric production vehicle at 258 miles an hour. Let me just put that into normal person units.
Is that a Ferrari? No, I don't think he was driving a Ferrari on that day. I can't remember what that was. Might be a Mercedes. I can't remember. I'm not really much of a supercar fan, so like I can't just look at a supercar and go exactly know what it is. Like,
whoa! 415 kilometers per second per minute hour. Oh wow! I'll get this right eventually. 415 kilometers an hour. This thing can get up to.
Yeah, it's insanely fast. It has a engine per wheel as well.
Oh, no wonder. So its resistance is lowered by a lot. Wow, so it's probably dealing with mostly air resistance at that point.
Yeah, it's a crazy fast car. It's one of the things that I like well, electric cars pretty amazing in that regards that like you can get that speed. Now, this is something that people get wrong when it comes to EV cars, all right? They always say they have maximum torque because from the time you put your foot down, you have 100% power, unlike an engine where you have to ramp up to the power band, right?
Yeah.
Electric cars don't have torque. Okay?
How do they not have torque?
They don't have torque.
I don't understand. No, you have to explain that one to me because
okay.
If you apply a pressure on if you apply force on a circular motion, that's torque. It's like leverage, but in a circle.
It's not. It's not
what
at all. It's really not.
Can you explain that one to me then?
I'll show you in a diagram. It's hard for me to explain it without a diagram.
Okay, let me look this up.
Okay.
What is torque?
It's spout strength more than anything.
Yeah, but that could be derived from... That could mean anything.
The fucking pictures that I find... are just not really helpful at all. Okay, not really helpful at all.
So it's a force applied on an angular rotation,
Exactly, and an electric motor does
which
not
is
do that.
no, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
It doesn't do that. The way electric motors work, it does not apply
It,
torque.
but then how does it spin a wheel?
It does, but it doesn't. It's really
No. It does or it doesn't.
It doesn't in the same way.
Do both. It can't spin a wheel and not spin a wheel at the same time. Don't freak me out like this, man.
Okay. Fuck's sake. I'm trying to find.
I'm literally reading it right now. Basically, torque is a force applied in a rotational manner, which is exactly how a tip wheel turns.
Okay, so the torque on a motor is a lot greater than a torque on an electric motor, and the reason for that is because exactly what you said. It's a fucking picture though. Is exactly what you said in terms of it is the pressure applied on an angle.
Force.
Or force, a force applied on an angle,
on a rotational
axis, right?
Yeah.
Okay, an electric motor is electromagnetically driven, so essentially sends a current through a magnet, essentially, which spins the shaft.
No, it's the other way around. So you run electric current around copper. Yeah. And the magnets, it generates a magnetic field, and that's what your magnets are attracted to, and that's how you get that's how you get the wheels to spin. It's exactly the same way it works in a brushless motor on your drill.
That's
any
still
fan
magnetically driven. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, then I'm telling you that's how it works.
Yeah, but on a petrol or a diesel or a combustion engine, essentially the force is the pressure applied from the
within the piston. Yes, I'm talking about an electric motor.
Yeah, where electric motor just spins it, so it's not as strong as like a physical item that's turning something. Essentially, is what I'm saying. Because it's not. An electric motor is nowhere near as strong as a combustion engine.
Well, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at, essentially.
What the fuck does that have to do with torque?
Because people say that fucking an electric motor has more torque than a combustion engine, which is not true. Because you also got to remember as well, combustion engines...
Torque is torque.
You're getting
I don't understand.
You're getting confused.
I am not. Torque is torque. You cannot. Torque is torque. Like, there's no point in which you get confused.
What you're getting confused with is the way it's emitted, and that makes it different. Fuck off. Okay, ignore the whatever. So this is essentially the same between a piston engine with a guy using a screw and an electric motor. So electric motor, exactly what you said, like the current pulls through, which spins the drive there. So that force there is stronger and greater than that force of spinning that thing. Is what I'm getting at.
Hang on, sorry. So you're looking at the relationship between force applied with a direct, as opposed to a magnetic field.
I'm not. This equation up here is obviously to do with, horsepower is RPM times torque, which gives you RPM, which gives you the horsepower, right? And then torque is obviously horsepower by this figure, your horsepower, which gives you RPM. I don't really understand those diagrams. I don't really give a shit about them. I only care about these pictures.
But you're literally trying to make an argument without understanding what is going on. How does that work? Anyway, so
I do understand what's going on, though.
You just literally just said you don't understand what these diagrams. You don't give a shit.
I don't give a shit about I don't give a shit about these equations here. I don't care because I just want the pictures. I was looking for the pictures. It was really hard to find pictures. Who
So
knew
they're both
that?
they're literally talking about the same equation, just with a slight bit of manipulation, depending on what
Ignore
you're
the
trying to
equation.
find.
What I'm saying is ignore the equation. Look at the picture. No, I'm not signing up. All I'm talking about is the difference with the way the torque is generated on a combustion and electric motor. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So a combustion engine actually has a leverage system inside the way it works with the pistons and your connecting rods and all that sort of stuff to your crankshaft. There actually is a
Yeah.
leverage system which generates a greater amount of torque to, say, an electric motor, because the electric motor doesn't actually have the same type of leverage because it's electrically driven. There's no physical motion of someone like bending something and applying pressure and then going around in case of an
They're
engine.
they're electrically decoupled. If they're electrically decoupled, they don't physically touch each other. It's just a magnetic field between the
Yeah,
magnet
and
and the electric
that's
copper.
yeah, and that's exactly what I mean. There's no actual other moving part besides the shaft. The shaft is the only
Yeah.
moving part. When in a combustion engine,
Yeah.
there's lots of moving parts that translate
Right.
the power and the torque, I should say, to the back end of the motor, which turns the wheels or turns the drive shaft. So those forces generate greater torque because of the leverage and et cetera, than an electric motor. In my opinion, people could come on here and fucking go, you're wrong, and that's fine. But to be honest, electric motors also do not have differentials. They also don't have a lot of them don't have the same type of ratios for the gearboxes and stuff like that. So cars generate more torque in that regards as well because they've got gear
If
reduction and
you
that sort of stuff.
Yeah, well, if you have four motors, you don't need a diff because each motor for each wheel that rules out the need for a differential.
Yes, but a differential generates more torque.
It can, yeah, sure.
It's not, it can, it does.
Okay, it does. Sure. I don't know what the gear ratios of a differential are, but I would just my assumption is that it's just a straight 1-to-1.
No, it's not. It's different. And each gear ratios are different depending on the car you got and the manufacturers. So, for example,
that makes sense depending on what the manufacturer wants to use.
I'll give you a big example. People may argue with me about this stuff and whatever. I don't care. I'm not 100% right on this either, but I know that. But my understanding is, so let's use drivetrain as a great fucking example of the difference between cars. You got a Nissan R31 Skyline, right? Straight inline 6-cylinder motor. Just go the NA version because the turbo version, just ignore that out of the equation. So we've got NA, so naturally aspirated motor. We'll have it in a manual, so a fast speed gearbox. And we put it up against its counterpoint, which is a 4-cylinder Pintara Nissan, which the Pintara and the Skyline have both the exact same fucking body that they use in both cars. The difference is the drivetrain and the motors, right? The Pintara on the straight will beat the 6-cylinder Skyline, and I've seen it happen. My brother told me about it years ago, and him and his mates had arguments about it. So then they raced. They did a drag race, quarter mile, with a Pintara and a Skyline, and the Pintara actually beats the Skyline on the launch and actually beat on a straight line. Now, when it comes to cornering, all that sort of stuff, it's a different story because the torque of the 6-cylinder just beats it. The reason for that is not because of the motors at all. Ignore that equation, but the fucking differential. Because they both use the same gearbox. They both use the same fast-speed gearbox. They both have pretty similar drivetrain in terms of the drive shaft itself. But the gear ratio on the rear diff on the Pintara is slightly different to of the Skyline, which actually gives it a greater torque figure, which makes it launch better at the line and actually beats the Skyline, which is crazy to me. So the 6-cylinder Skyline motor outperforms the 4-cylinder motor in a lot of regards, but yet on the straight, when they real world scenarios when they race, the dividing factor between these two cars is the differential, just because of the way the ratio works. It just launches
Yeah.
better. So
Because you've either got higher speed or
yeah,
faster takeoff, shall we say?
yeah. So yeah, that's interesting alone in itself. There's a guy that explained this to me ages ago. It was when the Cybertruck did that tug of war with the bloody an F-150.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and it was like, this is a load of shit. It's like it would not beat the F-150 in a fair fight. And then he rattled off, and then he went into the way torque works on electric motor and explained it. He's like, yes, it's generated torque, but it's not the same torque as what's in a combustion engine. And the reason why is this. And so he broke down the torque figures on a combustion engine and worked out all the mathematical equations. I'm not that good with engineering, so I can't do that. But he showed the torque figures basically at the at the drive shaft of the crank. So basically at the crank, it produces this figure. He then goes, now we add it into the gearbox, and in this case, it goes to this figure, and then he had the ratios of the gears and whatnot, and then he calculated the torque figures now thanks to the gearbox. Now we add it to a transfer box because it's a full drive, and then he added those figures to that and generated the torque figures. And then he went to the front and rear differentials and then added those torque figures, but he added them to each obviously split because the drivetrain splits the power. So now you got to split the power evenly across the car. And it's like usually on average it's like 60-40 or something like that. He actually knew the figures, so he said it accurately. And then he goes from the differential, and then now you got to go to the wheel, because the wheel also adds a torque figure because of the size, circumference, and the amount of power it generates when turning. Because it is a wheel. It generates its own torque on its own. And then
it'll add it into the effect
Yeah.
of it as well because of the size of the radius or the diameter of it, of course.
Exactly.
Hello, trader. How are you?
Hello, trader. Exactly. It's exactly.
Come on in. Welcome in. Come in.
So
Come in. We're arguing about torque.
Then he also did the same with the electric car. But it's a lot more simple on the electric car because he's like, well, the torque, this electric motor generates this much. This car variant doesn't actually have a gearbox because it's direct drive, meaning the wheels are directly hooked up to the motor. And then he worked out the torque figures from that. And then the number of the F-150 pickup truck was like blowing the number out of the electric EV. And he goes, now, real world situation, let's test that out. Okay, so the Tesla truck has these electric motors, and then he got a Tesla Y, I think it was, which is like the SUV version, and it's an all-wheel drive as well. And he has the two motors set up, so motor front and back, the same as what the Cybertruck is. And then he, I should rewind back. The Tesla truck doesn't have motors in each wheel. Actually, it's two motors, so it does actually have a gearbox. It's very basic. It's like a forward and back gearbox. It only has like one gear essentially. So rewind back to now. So he worked out all of that stuff, and then he got a tug of war with an F-150 and a Tesla Y. Theoretically, the Tesla Y should have better strength and power than the Cybertruck because it's a lighter vehicle than the Cybertruck. And then, of course, the F-150 won. The Tesla Y could not hold a candle, just did nothing.
Yeah, because it's kind of like it's essentially towing. It's essentially towing capacity for the F-150. So if it's lighter, it actually should have an easier time.
So the thing is that they didn't tell you with that demonstration. The Tesla truck weighs I think it's like 4 ton or something. It's a lot, and it's a lot more than what the F-150 could pull, and especially since it's like prototype as well. You got to remember. So that has a disadvantage in that argument as well, because when you add weight to an equation like that, it changes the playing field. Obviously, the heavy vehicle is going to win because it has more mass added with its power. So therefore, it wins.
You just
Also,
need more energy to move it.
yeah, exactly. So the F-150 lost out on that. So yeah, it's just interesting to me. It's not saying like they're inferior or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that people's understandings and the way they say the power figures that work on EV cars should be changed and should be made to understand how actually electric cars work, like Spiffy said, the way
They're
they work.
very similar to electric drills. They're just a
Yeah,
brushless motor. You pump current through copper windings, and you generate a magnetic field. A magnet on the other side, on the axle that actually spins on the wheel, is attracted to that magnet or that magnetic field, and you push pull the polarities of the magnetic field to generate an attraction towards the magnet, and that's how you get it to spin.
yeah.
It's a
It's been around
bit of clever
for
engineering.
It's over 100 years old. The electric motor. It's been around for a very long time. People think that combustion and electric motors, like the time of invention, is like a lot bigger, especially EV cars. This is not true. Combustion engines has been around for a while, but EV cars were made in the 1900s. Tesla used to years and years ago have recharge stations all over New York because he came out with an EV car line in 19. I'm gonna look this up now. It was in the 1900s, and it was designed mainly for women to go and do their grocery shopping without having to pay exorbitant prices for fuel. Essentially, that was the sales pitch for it.
Anything for a quick buck.
Basically, yeah.
Create
1901 they were invented. So they've been around
1901.
Yeah, they've been around for a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, so having a look at this. It's not the most reliable source, but I don't care. So it's basically how actually it brings up the image there. That's pretty cool. So that's essentially that's essentially how a electric motor works. You have the north and south pole,
Yeah.
and you just switch they're fixed, so you can't change those. But what you can change is the charge in the copper windings around the core, and you reverse the polarity, and that'll spin the crank shaft, not the crank shaft.
Okay.
That'll spin the.
I stand corrected. The first small scale electric cars were developed between 1828 and 1832. So very old. Yes, very, very old. Look at that. That's one of them there. So it's an old technology. It's been around for a very long time. The thing is, though, the amount of energy you get out of petroleum is a lot more.
A lot more dense.
Yeah, a lot more dense than you would get out of.
So you don't need as much petrol as you would say, like the amount of charged particles in a battery, like a lithium battery, to get the same amount of energy as with petroleum.
Yeah, which is why it's
so used.
Yeah, which is also why Toyota's trying to diversify because of that exact reason, because it's more efficient to have a combustion engine than it is to have.
It's also going to be, more pragmatic for the average person to be able to transition from a regular car to a hybrid, and then eventually down the line to electric or even a hydrogen engine.
Like a biggest thing as well when it comes to dedicated electric is humidity and temperature are the biggest killers of any electric system. Yeah,
so there's actually one of the reasons why what's the name of that place? Not Thailand. It's off the coast of China. I don't remember it.
I'm not too
I don't remember the name of it. Why can I not remember the name of it? But essentially, there's this one place in off the coast of China.
Yeah.
I will try my best to remember its
Talking
name.
about Korea,
No, the other place.
Kazakhstan.
No.
You're talking about Nepal, maybe?
No. Countries near China.
Oh, you're talking about the Philippines.
No.
Well, you either got Philippines, Vietnam, Taiwan, South Korea, North Korea. That's it.
Is it Taiwan? No, I don't know if it's Taiwan. I think it might be Taiwan that I'm thinking of. I think it's Taiwan that I'm thinking of. So one of the reasons why they're the manufacturer of CPUs and silicon chips, is because the conditions in that country are actually superior to creating those chips in the first place. So and also like carbon filament resistors, which is like your standard brown looking resistors, they actually change values depending on how hot it is or how cold it is. And same with electrolytic capacitors, they'll change their values depending on what the temperature and climate is. So making reliable electronics is actually a hell of a lot more difficult than than a lot of people might think. So creating something like a car is probably going to be extremely difficult because of the harsh climate that a lot of cars find themselves in on a regular basis.
Yeah, especially here in Australia because we're moving up towards a more tropical. Actually, we were talking about this at work today. So the biggest type of air conditioning systems we have in our country is like evaporative systems.
Yeah.
I'm sure any Australian walking around will look at the roof of their house and see an evaporative air conditioner on top of the roof. Essentially, it's very basic. Has these cooling pads, which is basically like cardboard, or there's a shredded bark chip version.
Yeah.
And they constantly stay wet. They're hooked up to a water supply, and the water supply keeps them wet and whatnot. They have a tank that fills and drips down. So it's like you fill up a water tank, and then it has a pump that drips down on top of the cooling pads, and then it has a big ass fan that sucks air in and blows it down a dropper, and then it goes into the ducted system in your house, and it cools you down.
And cools your house.
But they don't work in humidity, like at all.
Oh, beauty!
Because of the way they work, because they work off of the principle of evaporation, essentially, which is why they call them evaporation.
Oh, right.
Air conditioners. So the evaporation process is what takes. So as the moisture comes through and it lands on the surface, it absorbs all the heat and then evaporates off, removing that heat and cooling it down. That's essentially how it works.
Right.
But as Australia is moving up, because our country moves about a centimetre a year towards north. And
oh, really? That's actually quite a lot.
It is a lot. Yeah, we move a lot in a year.
That's actually scary.
In my lifetime, we have gone to the point where I live has become so tropical and humid that it's like it makes me feel like I'm living in Brisbane. Which is weird.
Right, yeah, that's hell.
Yeah, it's like, and also like, you know, I live in the hottest place in the world. Our temperatures here go in the 50s.
Average 55 degrees. Send help.
So anyway, it gets really fucking hot. Let's just say that, and then you add now humidity to that heat. It's just fucking death. But what he was saying was basically it won't be long until the business in particular that manufactures these evap systems won't make them anymore.
You'll have to move on to something else.
And he said that he's already seen them producing less evaps because people are buying reverse cycle air conditioning because evaps aren't as effective as they once were because the climate's changed. So that's real life, you know, scenarios of just in the effects of the weather and whatnot. And then if everyone had EVs and stuff, it wouldn't surprise me if their battery life that they promise is not the same as, say, in a perfect condition.
How well
like
does lithium How old is
Lithium doesn't
lithium's?
like heat. I know that for a fact.
Does lithium like
My tool
humidity?
batteries fucking. I notice a difference when I'm working in hot, humid environments. My fucking drill doesn't last as long.
Oh, oh,
Lithium does
okay,
not like humidity.
okay. If it gets too humid in the production room, the lithium can react with humidity and transform into lithium hydroxide and
Explodes.
hydrogen. Thus,
Explodes.
both the quantity, performance, and
Yeah.
durability deteriorate. Oh
Uh,
no! Oh, that's bad. Don't
yeah.
tell Dad. Oh no, someone. Yeah, I was actually talking to a good friend of mine, and he's good friends with a car manufacturer, no car mechanic shop that works on Jaguars,
Yeah.
and he's telling me that a lot of the mechanics are all quitting, because working with all electric vehicles just turned into just too much stress and too dangerous
Yeah.
because yeah, they're essentially dealing with a bomb that will just go off as opposed
My
with with petrol,
my
it'll burn as
my
long as it's not under pressure, it'll be fine. But lithium
yeah.
explodes no matter what.
So
What were you saying? Sorry.
all right, so I'm going to show you a couple of videos that I found of just like lithium phones going off and shit like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Like this is from heat, by the way. These are like heat related issues. Ignore that fucking thing. So like that phone caught on fire in the fucking windscreen of the car, which means that I bet you that phone was sitting in the car in the heat. Look at it.
Oh
It's an
wow!
Apple
Check that
phone too.
out.
It's an iPhone. Look at that go.
Of course it is.
You know,
It just bam, just like that.
it's a phone repair shop. Someone fucked up when they're disassembling a phone.
Mm.
You know, e-cigarettes going off. Fucking gnarly, isn't it?
Yeah, let's get ready for having
Yeah,
literal.
they can happen.
Whoa!
Yeah,
Jeez, check that out.
it can happen. It's not the manufacturer's fault. Usually, a lot of this stuff happens from external factors. I have witnessed a phone being shot that was turned on, a lithium battery
Oh wow! I
inside.
wonder what happened.
They
to the
explode.
phone was
They
shot.
fucking explode. It is so spectacularly awesome. But they
Oh
explode. Like, look at
no!
the smoke, and that smoke's really fucking toxic too, and
I
it
would. I bet.
burns super fucking hot. Um, fucking
Oh
e-bike catching on
wow!
fire there. Don't spray water on it, you idiot. Lithium reacts with water. My God.
Pour more water on it.
This is a good
I'll
example.
put it
Okay.
out eventually.
This is exactly what happens to my dad. Used to work at a processing plant, like a tip,
Hmm.
and so this here, okay, he had one of these, but it was a crusher. So it's one of those ones with the big rollers, and you throw stuff in it, and it just shreds everything in it. And they used to have a cage at the top, so you throw stuff in at the top, but you had a cage barrier here and here and here. And he said when he first got there, he was like, "What is that for?" Because it's not really. It's like it's kind of in the way. Is it to stop people from falling in? But it doesn't make sense because you've got the staircase, and then all that's open that you chuck all the shit in, right?
Yeah.
And then it has a netting on top and whatnot as well. And it's like, no, that's from explosions. It's to protect us from explosions. He's like, what do you mean explosions? He goes, every now and then we'll get a lithium battery turn up. Now this is from general waste, like people throwing rubbish in their bin out the front.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, okay, fair enough, whatever. I sort of, brushing it off, sort of thing. And he was saying that he got the forklift up and he tipped a big waste bin that they sort of get the forklift, pick it up, and they flip it upside down and it drops it all in there.
Yeah.
And then, like, as it's going, it just got boom, and then shit went everywhere, and cardboard went everywhere, hit the cage, and then fell back down into the crusher. And it's like, what the fuck? And then the guy's like, that is a lithium battery going off. Someone's thrown a lithium battery, and it got hit by the teeth of the shredder and exploded. And yeah, so he actually physically saw the effects of the cage. And people should not throw batteries in the fucking bin because it can kill someone at the other end trying to process it and fix it, because they don't have time to sort through all the rubbish. They just shred it all up. And so yeah, you could kill someone doing that without realizing it. And then he was also saying there was another instance where a dump truck was coming through, and he was outside with other workers and all doing stuff. And then again, heard a big explosion, and the next minute, smoke just bellowing out of this dump truck. And the driver, Dad's like, get out quickly, because he's been in a truck that's caught on fire before. And it spreads quick, and it happens within seconds. The whole truck will be engulfed. And so he got out, whatnot, and the truck hadn't like actually caught on fire. And they were like, where the fuck is the fire? So they moved the truck off, and what had happened was, the lithium batteries in like RC cars and stuff like that they have these days, the long brick-like ones that they get.
Yeah.
There's one of them on the ground. The truck ran it over and it blew up. Caught on fire. Yeah. Smoke was bellowing out everywhere. They thought the truck was on fire, but it wasn't. It was the wheel had melted. The wheel melted, but he ran over the battery and it just fucking went off. They're super, super dangerous. Super, super dangerous.
Yeah, they
you should dispose of them properly. So yeah, that's a fire. So this sort of shit happens a lot in tips these days, with lithium batteries being so common, from phones to RC cars to you name it. If it's got a lithium battery in it and then people dispose of it incorrectly, like this shit happens all the time. And these poor people are now breathing in all these toxic fumes. And the problem is the lithium fires, they continuously burn. You cannot stop it. And the reason why is because lithium itself, just like potassium and sodium and all that, they're a reactive metal. And they react to, they want to shed their neutrons, and they want to change their state because they're an unstable state, essentially. And so they just don't stop. Like, they can burn for days. This is like looks like a power bank for something as well. Look at that. Look at it catching on fire. It's crazy. Yeah. That's an EV car. Super, super dangerous.
There it goes.
Yeah, super dangerous. I'm not saying they're bad. Just got to be careful. And and this is like the one thing that worries me with EV cars on the road is collisions. They say they have a collision rating and all that stuff. But sorry for cutting you off.
But that's in a controlled environment.
Yeah.
What happens if you get onto the road where it's not a controlled environment?
Put it this way: when you get in car accidents, shit goes everywhere. Pieces of metal go flying. So if someone crashes into something and say a piece of your car that's metal goes flying off, pierces the case of a lithium cell, it'll go up in seconds, and 2 people or more could end up being engulfed in flames. The person that hit the other car, the car's been hit. It's dangerous. It's pretty sketchy. That's why there's no real good spot to put the battery either. The Tesla's skateboard system, I don't like.
Skateboard system?
Well, so a Tesla battery is underneath the car.
Oh, right. You're talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't like that because no matter what angle you hit the car, you're going to potentially hit the battery system. Though saying that, the rear battery system on like conventional Tesla, conventional like Prius and stuff like that, where they store it in the rear, that's also pretty exposed. But they do really put those batteries close. Usually the battery banks are like right underneath the rear seat, or like just behind the rear seat of the car. You have to hit someone really fucking hard to get that far up on a car. But I guess that's why Teslas have their battery bank underneath the car. But this is pretty much a good sort of picture showing. So that's like the skid of the battery bank on a Tesla. So it sits in this thing and then it sits up underneath the car.
Right. That's a lot of battery.
Oh,
How
it
big is
is.
it compared to?
It is heavy too. Usually you have
Bet.
to get a specialized jack system to lower it because it's really fucking heavy. Here you go. This is a good example. So that whole thing there is the battery. But,
And everyone who drives a Tesla sits on that damn thing.
yeah. If they do go up, they fucking go up quick. And look, there's the motors there. So that's what powers it.
Give us a look.
Yeah, the big fucking.
Oh, wait, yeah, I see.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just interesting to me. I like technology. I like it's fascinating. But did you hear before we close off? Did you hear that companies and countries are starting to make legislation on AI?
No, I didn't. I'm not surprised, but I'm curious to see where they take that legislation or what they want to do with it.
So, so did you hear about the actors' strike and all that sort of stuff?
The Hollywood writers strike.
All right, so
Yeah,
I was watching Philip DeFranco do a story on it, and a lot of these companies that make movies and stuff are looking at they're doing AI bounties or something like that, where basically they're getting people to draw a picture or digitally animate someone that they're interested in having an AI generated version of on their film, and whoever has the best one gets the job. So what they're doing is basically they're looking at replacing actors and replacing them with AI.
That should turn out interesting.
Yeah. So the Actors Guild is like really, really pissed off about this because they're like,
yeah,
we could lose our jobs, and anyone who signs on to this could lose our jobs. Yeah. And I agree with them. They could. AI technology now that's what it looks like is going to music generated to the point YouTube actually has said that if any art or synthetically made content is done with AI, you have to disclaim it that it is.
Yeah, right.
They also brought out that music is not allowed to be AI generated. They're looking at doing that. The reason why is exactly what you said, copyright reasons. Because AI takes
it'll get out of hand so fucking quickly.
You
Mechanical rights are well, it's even besides that. So there's as far as I know, there's 3 different rights when it comes to that. You have your written copyright, you have your mechanical copyright, and you have your sync rights.
Yeah.
So your written copyright is pretty, stock standard, just written down, and then voila, you now have copyright over it. When it's recorded, then it becomes a mechanical copyright. On top of that, and then when it gets synced up with like an ad, for example, then you need to buy a sync license, or they need to get a sync license off of you, and essentially that's how a lot of musicians make money.
Yeah, because it's getting out of hand to the point where what the AI is doing now is it's actually generating AI copies of singers, and then having them sing an AI generated song.
I've heard a few of them. Certain VTubers.
I've heard
a lot of fun.
a Michael Bublé.
Yeah.
I've heard Michael Jackson. I've heard several big name singers AI generated singing a
Frank Sinatra
song.
as well.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen them all. It's crazy.
I think
you can tell that they're not real. They say certain things.
Yeah, there's certain artifacts.
Yeah, the pronunciation's a bit weird. But
yeah, but that'll be worked out.
It looks like that, my job and your job, AI ain't gonna affect us at all. But it looks like the creative industry, I think that's where the AI is a real threat. I think everyone else, it will be used as a tool to make their lives easier.
Yeah, it'll make their lives cheaper too.
Yeah. Like, for example, it would be good to have AI create, or even to use AI to make the engineering side of things would be nice and easy. Like, say an engineer is designing a car, and they're like, okay, I need to focus on this, but I need help with this. I'm a little bit stuck with that, and then they get the AI to generate the equations and whatnot for the engineering side of things, on putting the materials needed, the forces, blah blah blah, all those calculations, and then that way they can essentially split the task between them and an AI to make their life easier. Because you can't have the whole thing done with an AI, because you still need someone there to say what parameters need to be set, because an AI is not that smart. But I think in that regards, I think it will be very useful as a tool with a worker. But creative side of things, I think it just outright can steal everything and be so much cheaper to have an AI do it than an actual person.
Yeah, but imagine the PR disaster that'll happen when you're a band and then all your audience members find out that you did everything via AI. The PR would be insane.
It would be. If you came out like some of those VTubers that have AI, like
Pipkin Pipper.
yeah, and that, what's the name of the other one?
Oh god, that does not narrow it down at all.
The one that always plays those games as well as sings.
That what? Huh? Again, does not narrow it down at all.
The guy that invented it always plays as like a sloth.
I don't know. Oh, Vidal?
Vidal, yeah. That AI,
Yeah.
that one sings all the time and whatnot. So if you have if you have an outright this is an AI and then you have fun with it and use that, people are like, oh, okay, fair enough. But if you lie about it and get caught out, you're right. It'd be just like lip syncing.
Insane.
It'd be like lip syncing. People that lip sync like Britney Spears and whatnot. Yeah. So, she does.
Oh, there's no way about that. She obviously does.
My brother's ex-wife went to a Britney Spears concert and she lip sung the whole time.
God, what's the point? What's the point of going?
Well, you're going to go to a Britney Spears concert and not expect her not to lip sync.
Well, no, like in general, what's the point of going to a concert you know that the artist is just not going to bother putting in any effort?
I don't know.
Except for showing up.
She was drunk though. I can tell you that much right now.
It was Britney Spears?
Yeah, Britney Spears. She was fucking plastered, she said. It was shit. God. She went on there, sang a couple of songs horribly. She was like, the song was continuing. She was just drinking water. Like the lyrics are still. She was fucking hammered. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So back in those days, if someone was caught out lip syncing, they'll be crucified by the audience.
Yeah.
Sometimes I can understand it. Like, for example, if you lost your voice, you can't cancel the show because all these people pay a lot of money to see something. So I can understand them going, well, let's try lip syncing just to see if we can get away with it. And there was one person, I can't remember who it was, but one person did get caught out with that.
With lip syncing?
Yeah. Oh, no, sorry. They didn't get caught out when they went. They were lip syncing, but when they went on stage, they said they had to. They went up and said, "I'm really sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I've lost my voice. You can hear it now. I'm gonna lip sync this concert. I'll do the best I can. I'm so sorry, but I don't want you to have a bad time." And so they lip synced.
At least he owned up to it. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah, everyone was pretty positive. And there was another time where someone got caught out lip syncing and they said, I actually lost my voice and blah blah. And people, oh, okay, fair enough, whatever. But it's I guess in those situations you could see that's understandable because people pay a lot of money and generally their time schedule's so tight that you can't reschedule another concert for when they're better. So so that's what they do that for, I guess. But, yeah,
I suppose that's fair enough.
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think it's time to
call this one here.
Yeah, I think it might just raid on out.
We're gonna raid out.
We're gonna raid out. I don't know who to raid.
We're gonna raid out.
We can raid it to Richard. We could raid into
Anyone in the chat wearing headphones?
Don't know.
I'm about to find out.
Don't know.
Anyone wearing headphones?
We could raid
I have to know.
Let's raid into Richard.
Okay, let's raid into Richard.
Richard's cool. What's he playing? Lethal Company. Oh, that game looks so sick. I want to play that game.
Which
Lethal
one?
Company.
Which one?
It's the one
Beeffoot
with
Company.
no, yeah, Lethal Company.
Oh, Lethal Company.
Yeah, it looks fucking fun. You should get it. Alright. Anyway, alright everybody. I hope you have a good night and day depending where you're in the world. And we'll catch you next time for episode 31.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Alright, see you all later.
Have a good one.
What the actual fuck is that? Is it following us?